Alright, hey guys, today is going to be a very special video. As you know, this is the third installment of the Kid Quadrant series, and while the others were, I guess you would say, story time videos, this one is going to be a more educational piece with a PowerPoint provided, and the PowerPoint will basically go over kind of destroying the whole stereotype idea for the quiet kid and how that they're just like us, they're human beings that may have some problems, but for the most part, they're the same as others. I am joined here by my good friend Damien, that everybody knows.
Hi everyone.
And yeah, so let's start off. So the first slide is more or less a meme, I guess I found off the internet, which is like this is just basically the bone stock stereotype, you would say. And the thing is, like, I only know like one person that listens to Elliott Smith, and they're not like, they don't dress like, they don't wear like a black hoodie, they don't wear dark clothing, they don't have Beats headphones, and I highly doubt they read War and Peace. Also, like the shoes, they wear, like, I guess you would say your average like $300 Nikes, Adidas shoes. They're not. I don't know what shoe this is in the first slide, but I've never seen anybody wear those. All right, moving on to the actual first slide, clothing. Now, while this kind of goes with the shoes, um, from what I've seen in the media, and I guess what people would say, like within the high school setting, is that anybody that dresses, I guess you would say, below average, so like they have dirty like sweaters, ripped jeans, possibly worn out shoes, that's a lot of people uh, think that anybody that fits under that category are considered like troubled, the troubled quiet kid that doesn't really talk to anyone, and some would say possibly be a future school shooter. And so what I've grabbed from these images is, I mean, from what I've known, um, I don't know anybody that really, like, I mean, clothing is clothing, and I don't think I've ever really seen anybody wear like, anybody that I'd consider a quiet kid would be wearing like black Nikes or like or Vans. I don't. Also, the All Star Converse either. I've never seen, people that I've known that fit under that category of quiet kids. They don't wear that type of clothing. Damien is someone that talks to those people directly. Would you like to give your insight on the matter?
uh yeah, that is a it definitely I agree with you when you say it's a stereotype. It really is. Not all of them wear stuff like that. In my school, it's kind of weird because yes, there are those kids who wear kind of like the black kind of like sweatshirts and stuff like that, but I know a couple too that wear like plaid and are very quiet, but can be also be hard to tell sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's also like that's a big one too, and most kids don't even consider them. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
like, but they're very nice people. Seriously,
Mhm.
like, seriously, I would recommend honestly going up and talking to people like that and actually making friends in them because a lot of the ones I know are really nice people. Seriously.
When you mentioned plaid, when I normally think of plaid, I think of, I guess you would say, the Midwest, or I maybe people from small town, like the countryside. Like, I don't see anybody like really from the city wearing that type of stuff, which again is like, it's kind of like an average stereotype that the, I guess, future school shooter is someone in the Midwest that dresses like they're from the country, um, or yeah, the countryside. However, it's like, here wise, including that, like, you know, a lot. not everybody's from my city that go to my school. They're from out of town as well, and I can't really say that I've seen anybody that dresses like they're from the country, or at
Mm.
least people that are quiet that they would dress like that. But yeah, that's I think I said everything there. What about you?
I'm just gonna say one thing, and for those people confused too, I am from a small town, so that's another thing too. That's kind of wild for what Josh was saying too. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am from a small town, so.
All right, the next one. This one's my personal favorite because I have a lot to say about this music. So I've there was this one guy that I met on PlayStation a few years back. I don't think I've like really did a stream with him, but he's definitely was in like maybe some video clips on the channel. Um, he considered himself a quiet kid. I don't remember where exactly they lived, but they lived somewhere in the Midwest. And whenever I think of like I guess the stereotypical quiet kid, normally they're into like I don't know what you I get like not early 2000s. I guess you would say mid 2000s butt rock. So 3 Days Grace, Skillet, Shine
Mhm.
Down, and like which is like I can understand from 3 Days Grace, and I guess all like the lyrics between 3 Days Grace and Skillet. It's not to say that like they're commercially um, successful to that I guess group, but their lyrics definitely resonate with people that are I guess that have gone through tough times, that are struggling, and that's why they really stick with those bands. And it's not for like the hard rock edginess that's like like they're gonna like challenge people to fights. No, if you actually listen to the lyrics, obviously the stereotypical one would be "Animal I Become." It's about someone becoming their worst versions of themselves through because of something that happened to them. Like I get because like something that happened to affect them to do that. Skillets, Skillet's more of a I guess they consider a Christian rock band. So while they're like kind of I guess trying to why they kind of sound similar to 3 Days Grace, they're obviously again their morals and their lessons like within lyrics and stuff, they're not too far off. Obviously, like if you look at the picture like from 3 Days Grace, they look like a I guess you could say post-hardcore mid 2000s metalcore band, while Skillet look kind of like well yeah Skillet looks like I guess another metalcore band. And I added some other ones, mostly post hardcore, and I guess you could say pop punk slash Midwest emo. Loud Dispute, specifically for me and anybody that I know that listens to them, it's kind of like I don't really to explain it to the I guess you could say the average listener. A lot of people won't really get into it, but if you actually dig deeper and look at the lyrics, and that's like mainly the whole thing within this, which I have another second slide after this dedicated to this. Um, the lyrics for Loud Dispute, like their first entire album, sounds like something some straight out of like Shakespeare. Like the poetry is nailed like and perfected like so well that it sounds like you're hearing Shakespeare with over the heavy music, which is incredible. And Wildlife is probably one of the greatest albums of the last decade, according to majority of people that I know that know of the album. Just because they tackle subjects that no other band you would ever like would hear from. Like for example, there's a drive-by gone wrong, where the murderer ends up killing a kid, and then the rest of the song is like portrayed how like the media is like obviously after him, and he's still on the run, and then in the end he gets held up in a hotel room with the cops and his uncle, and they're trying to tell him like, hey, there's other ways out of this, and the lead singer doesn't like say what happens at the end. He says he left the hotel because he doesn't want to know how it ends. And another, my personal favorite one off the album is I don't remember exactly what it's called, but Edward Ben's something, which is about an old man that has a son who's schizophrenic, and he ends up his friend or his son ends up having an episode stabbing him, and the song is portrayed by again the lead singer or the narrator, who is a friend of the old man, and he's telling it from his point of view, from what like he heard of the situation and whatever. Yeah, again, that's for Loud Dispute. Census Failed is kind of a mixed matched one. While the lyrics are, I guess you would say, more emo within their first or within Let It Unfold You, I would say Still Searching is where, while the lead singer says he did lose like more he lost his chance of creativity within that album. You can show it can still be you can still tell that it was made after something horrific happened, which was the passing of his grandfather, and that's why a lot of those songs are more, I guess you could say, darker compared to what you would hear from on Let It Unfold You. And then after that, the lyrics, I guess the Renaissance album is underrated in my opinion. While it is more heavy, there's more screaming and there's more, I guess, hardcore aesthetic to it. The lyrics are like you could use a lot of those lyrics, or you could quote a lot of those lyrics for, I guess, motivational speeches and stuff like that. Like it's very powerful. They talk about depression. They talk about like losing yourself to like addiction and stuff, and just like struggling through dark times. And yeah, they're phenomenal. So I understand why. Again, Touche Amore kind of fall into the category with Loud Dispute. We'll get to that because I have a slide with the lyrics. Sorority Noise is your soundtrack to depression, which is not a bad thing. Anybody that struggles with depression, 100% check out Sorority Noise. First and second album are like basically the darkness of depression, while the last album is about getting better throughout it and healing. Brand New, everybody has almost a video on why Brand New is so special. You're basically, again, powerful lyrics, and consider, quote, is this band emo.com, they're the Radiohead of the emo scene. Yeah, that's it for music. That's what I know. This is from my personal experiences and from what I've known. Damien, I highly doubt, it's not too far-fetched to think about it, but like, from the kids that you've talked to, have they ever, like, I guess, I don't know, blasted like music from their like backpack or something like that, like where you at least like get some sort of understanding of what they listen to?
Um, like 99% of them, nah. But we did have this one kid once who did do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he only did it once.
Do you remember like what
When
kind of
we,
music it was?
um, it was rap. It
Yeah.
was like
That, that
it was more rap,
yeah,
yeah.
that was another one I kind of wanted to. That's one I kind of like. I mix what I know and from what I've heard, but yeah, I like definitely like Suicide Boys. I don't know what else. Suicide Boys, Lil Peep, all that. Like they'll fit into that category as well. But this is what I'm more familiar with, so that's why I didn't really mention rap. But yeah, there's the whole stereotypical listens to Suicide Boys, becomes a school shooter in the future, bullshit like that. But yeah, I definitely know what you're saying. Yeah, so here we go.
Hmm.
Relatable lyrics. Well, I basically kind of explained everything. I've probably heard better. There's some of these lyrics that I kind of like. I wish was able to find better ones, but like example for Loud Dispute, tell me that it's difficult not to think of death sometimes, which is, that's a very honest thing to say, and obviously people can resonate with that. especially in their darkest times. Again, I don't remember which category this is in exactly. I'm gonna say that this is. I'm gonna say that the next one is 3 Days Grace, but I feel so much better that you're gone forever. I tell myself I don't miss you at all. I mean, yeah, that one again. That's another one that I could definitely easily see like from a breakup song or someone that cheated on you. Definitely a good song to listen to while you're going through that time. Uh, Touche Amore, with nothing to lose, you can't lose at all, which is kind of like that's kind of easily, you could easily pick that for something that a school shooter would say. This one is easily one of my personal favorites. My favorite, one of my favorites, obviously the obvious sorority noise song, Using, but I stopped wishing I was dead, learned to love myself before anyone else, become more than just a burden. I know I'm more than worthy of your time. Amazing, well put together lyrics that I feel like sorority noise is definitely the soundtrack to high school, if not early college. Brand new. This one I think a lot of this one I think a lot of people know. Some men die under the mountain looking for gold, others die looking for a hand to hold. Another powerful message that a lot of people would post on like their Tumblr or Instagram story. It's definitely a well-known one, at least from what I've heard. And then this one, again, this one's probably Skillet. Sometimes I find it hard to believe. Oh wait, no, I forgot the census fail. Yes, Skillet one. Sometimes I find it hard to believe there's someone else who could be just as messed up as me. That's 3 Days Grace. Yeah, okay, that one. Oh my God, like that one I definitely relate with, because that's the thing that a lot of people normally go through, whether it be Quiet Kids or anybody. When they're struggling in their time, where they think that they're thinking like, oh, this is the worst, this is happening to me, and this explains it just perfectly right here, that like it's hard to believe that someone else is going through the same stuff as me, which I also kind of, I guess, preached on in my outro to the episode 2 video. And this one, Census Failed, this one's probably off of the Renaissance album, but don't be afraid to stumble and weep, enjoy the journey even when, oh, actually, this might be off the last one. Yeah, but don't be afraid to stumble and weep, enjoy the journey even when it's steep. The mountain teaches us to rise up and reach, enjoy the journey even when you're weak. Look into the basement of your heart, there's a light that just went dark. Oh, actually, that's pull your thorns out of, or pull the thorns out of our heart. That's the one it's from. But yeah, again, powerful stuff. And when it comes to my music, I want to have relatable lyrics on par with this stuff, because I feel like that's where it really hits people and it really makes them understand that they're not alone. And I feel any outsider that like thinks, oh, this is just screaming music, this makes the person angry, they're gonna probably become aggressive. No, you have to dig in and read through these songs to understand that, oh wow, I understand why this kid listens to this now. And there's another meme that we'll get to that kind of has that in the lyrics. Alternatives, this one I'm going to touch on very briefly. Again, Elliott Smith, teen suicide. This is like, I guess, I don't know what category this is. This is just slow. Some of this is bedroom punk, others post-punk. But teen suicide is, again, with the lyrics and everything. If you haven't heard The Same Things Happen to Me Even in My Dreams, definitely go check that out. That's their best song. Oh, Radiohead, don't even go there. You've heard Creep, you already know why it's on here. Slow Dive, not really a fan, but I know that people still listen to that. Flat Sound is one that I used to be really into. They kind of take the very slow thing like radio, or he takes the slow thing, the slow sound like Radiohead. Salvia Path, I think everybody knows that, and the Smiths is obviously iconic for being, being your, I guess, goth, 80s goth rock sound. Well, I also probably would have put Joy Division. I feel like the Smiths definitely deserve. Sore Eyelids, I don't remember exactly. I think I heard like maybe 3 songs. I really appreciated it that I put it on here, but I guess what also was the bonus was that it was called Avoiding Life, which makes sense to the Quiet Kid stereotype. All right, hobbies. Now, from what I'm kind of gathering this from me specifically, because I don't really, but also people that I've spoken with. But yes, guitar, obviously. Skateboarding is another one that I didn't think was that popular, really, which is kind of weird, which I guess is kind of surprising considering that, like, skate culture is not dead, but it's almost like it's almost been forgotten about, in my opinion. Video games is an obvious one. I put PlayStation 2 because that's the majority of, like, I guess, nostalgic games minus Saints Row 2. They always have that iconic soundtrack, which has like post-hardcore songs like how am I forgetting this? Like Census Fail. Oh no, that would be PS3. Like Funeral for a Friend, or for some reason my mind's going blank. Flat Out 2 is the most iconic game that I can remember the soundtrack for, just for the pop punk, um, and yeah, pop punk and the I guess you could say metalcore, because that was the first time I heard Under Oath reinventing the exit. Beautiful, great song, and that's the thing. Like when it comes to video games wise, thinking back to Mama Max's video with the escapism idea. When, like, for example, when I play Flat Out 2, I'm lost in that world. I feel like I'm racing against, or like the competition are like kind of young wise, so it's almost like you're racing against like early college students, like senior friggin' teenagers that don't care about destroying their cars, and it's just, and the world with it's definitely 2006, and that's the beauty of, I guess you would say, the emo scene era, and it captures that perfectly. Mostly with the doomer aesthetic, the whole Nightwalk thing, Nightwalk playlists, walking at nighttime, walking in the rain. That's something that I kind of wanted to do, but that's also something that I know a lot of people do because they just don't want to stay at home. Movies, again, that's another obvious one with the idea with escapism. I could name a lot of the stuff I like is, again, mostly 2000s, 90s, if not 80s. Probably will do like a movie collection reveal at some point because I have a lot of stuff. YouTube is another one. We'll get to YouTubers as well, but a lot of YouTubers, like, I guess definitely horror channels, mostly horror channels, if not, yeah, I'm gonna stick with mostly horror channels, if not maybe some commentary channels. Definitely a lot of the stuff that those kids would watch, especially like Leafy is Here when that was popular. A lot of people like that content because it has like, it will give off like a nostalgic vibe, or even like, I guess, a brand new vibe that no one would really, like, I guess no one would really connect to except like with these kids, because they really feel at home when they watch these channels. I know with like the Creepy Reading, for example, he kind of gives off like this dark pan pizza vibe for some reason, where like I'm stuck in watching these videos, and I'm like this is supposed to be scary and all, but it's almost like I feel at home because it's almost like watching like something that you would want to watch on TV, where they break down stuff like over the years, and it's cool. Um, Netflix, another one with the TV and movies, guitar, obviously. I was tied with what camera to put on here. I like the video camera because a lot of kids like they like to do like their own movies or even like record themselves doing stupid stuff. And with obviously photography, there's a lot of people that do like dark photography, dark stuff that maybe they might even they might do that for like album covers for the stuff that they make, music wise. Yeah. I think I covered everything there. Damien, you still here?
Yes, I am. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah. What did I miss anything? Guitar. When it comes to music, for me, I really do feel like that. Um, it's mostly like it's more like a vibe than anything else. It's not like I'm not like trying to like I guess become the next artist or rock star. I'm thinking more of the lines of like I want to create something that's kind of new but also has nostalgic vibes with it. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's my idea for music. Are you good now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh, from what you know, the people that you've talked to, do you know anything about their hobbies?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. I do have a friend who, in fact, does in fact play a lot of guitar, and I mean a lot of guitar, and is a huge, I mean humongous fan of Brendan Urie, Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, I know.
Huge crush on him too. That's
Hmm.
for sure. Let me tell you, it gets interesting, to say the least. But anyways, yeah, she's really good at playing the guitar too. Like I remember too, sometimes occasionally scrolling through my Insta and seeing her playing the guitar, and I'm like, wow, she is actually really good at this. I feel like too you would like her, Josh.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
She's
you're
a
kind
really
of
good
making her
person.
out to sound like my best friend, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, is that it?
Um, that and also too with the music too. If there was one band I would add to that music too, Josh, is
Mm-hmm.
definitely Green Day. You cannot forget Green
That
Day.
yeah, I'm probably gonna do a separate video on alternative culture, but um, I don't like to be no offense, but to be honest, like I only know mostly females I know like Green Day, while the males are kind of like they're on the side or they know like their most popular songs.
Fair enough.
I gotta be honest, like to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Green Day, but on my on like my newest playlist, I have "Wake Me Up When September Ends." So yeah,
Great song. And do you actually know what the story of that song is? I'm just curious if you know.
we're trying to save time here, so let's just
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'll
All right,
talk. That'll be another
yeah.
time thing.
Next slide. All right,
Yep.
all right. This was where you might actually be able to tell your story. So we got backstories. Uh, from this is gathered from information from people I've spoken with. For the most part, any like I guess you could say illegal stuff that I mention on here have not happened to me. So there's no investigation that needs to be involved or anything like that. I'm going to speak for that now. All right. So the first one is abusive household, which is kind of a given. It's almost all the time. It's always the father, and that's
Mm.
why. And actually, a good thing that my friend said is that a lot of the reasons why people are assholes are because they've been dealt a shitty hand, which is, I think that speaks for everyone, really. But yeah, like if I guess you would say the quiet kid is like I guess an asshole or like the edgy douchebag, or thinks he's the class clown. Most of the often or not, it's because his father's not, I guess, a good man, or um, you know, they could even be like foster care, stuff like that. It's definitely something that should be should be in people's minds when it comes to, I guess, thinking why this person is like this. Getting bullied but too afraid to speak out. Again, I got a meme kind of for that. Definitely something that I didn't have trouble speaking out against my bullying. The thing was, whenever I did within my elementary school, I didn't get nothing happened. So it was like almost on the lines like I should have either went to the police or I should have like, you know, I guess talked about this sooner than later. Um, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, best friend chose the easy way out. Again, no, if I don't know if Damien wants to tell his story on this one, but this one is definitely something that happens rarely, but again, it can really destroy someone when they lose someone that they've been close to for a long time or even since childhood, which is another thing that people should really take into consideration when they begin to tease these types of people. Not to mention, it's pretty understandable if the kid lashes out at the bully if the bully mentions something about his dead best friend. Um, Family struggles with finances. Again, I'm not really going to say my view on this, but I got to say that a lot of people I've spoken with, this is the case where they kind of like where they kind of have to wear, I guess you would say, average clothing. They can't afford what the nicest clothes, and that they kind of feel, I guess you would say, they feel unpopular. They don't feel like they can get attention because of that. No father or mother figure kind of fits in the lines of honestly, it depends on who raises the kid, because I like to consider myself more feminine than masculine. It's pretty obvious. 'Cause I'm not really like, not to say that I'm not like the other guys, but like I'm not, I don't speak, and I guess like, I don't speak like, I don't speak like I'm trying to defend something, which that's kind of like, I feel like that's what the masculine personality really comes off as, while feminine is more the lines of like, oh, you know, I'm not afraid to speak out, I'm not afraid to share my feelings. I don't care if I'll hurt you or not. Um, Never really had a close friend, doesn't think they can manage one. That's kind of along the lines of what happened from their elementary school into high school. That was kind of my whole situation with the Effie Stoneham Sega, where it was more the lines of like, I didn't really, I kind of I lost my friends from elementary school, and I felt, I guess, or even with Amber as well, I felt like I couldn't manage talking to these people because I don't think that the connection would still like remain, and I think it would just die out because they wouldn't like me. And again, that's something that a lot of people, that's the reason why some people don't talk to others, is because they've again been dealt a shitty hand. No one really defended them, and they're just left to rot while no one is like helping them. They either find a way on their own, or they become someone that is different than who they were before. That's all I can say. Had a girlfriend, but she moved away. This is more on the lines of like, I guess you would say like even close friends that that found a new friend group in high school. Makes them sad, makes them not, it makes them lonely. They either struggle trying to find friends, or they just don't find one because they can't, they're still hung up on that loss of friendship that they once had. All right, Damien, you have the floor.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And about the first topic too, I'm gonna say if anybody is in that boat, I want them to know they are not alone. There is help out there. I wanna say that. And about the whole losing a friend. Uh, okay. So, when everything all started, I was with this person, this individual. You know, we had our problems, you know what I mean? But we were happy, and see, she was from a different country. She was from a different country. I was American, she was from somewhere else. And in that country, uh, healthcare isn't exactly the best, yes. But one day, I remember I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning and found out she had passed away due to her taking her own life. Uh, and that honestly, that personally hit me for the longest time. I didn't think I'm like I don't think I can ever date anyone ever again. You know, I we would always have those individuals, and you have those people who actually understand the situation and be by your side, and you have those individuals who, when sometimes when people are sad, they make mistakes, and they tend to blame things on others, but they later do not mean. But it was a tough situation. eh, She was in. I think the whole family was in, including me, and I just want them people to know out there too that no matter what happens, know that it's not what sometimes it's not your fault. You know, it's not your fault. Sometimes we don't know what's going on in a person's head to go and do something like this. And another thing too is before people go around blaming other people too, they should think about what they're saying. People should think about what they're saying and the impact it has on others, because sometimes words can stay a lot longer than actions, like physical actions and stuff like that. And but yeah, one thing's for sure too is if you're in a situation like this, talk to your friends or talk to your family, whoever you're close to. You know what I mean? Tell them how you feel, and yeah, and just I say don't try your best not to be alone unless you really need time to cry. And if you have that friend like that will let you, I say let it out because it does help emotionally, and talking about it does help. And I'm not going to say to yeah instantly everything's okay. No, it's not. It takes time and effort, and it can even take to someone special. Like it doesn't have to be like a relationship type of special. It can just be a friend special to really help. And if you think you have that person too in your life, um, and stuff like that, definitely talk to them. You know, and who knows too, they could relate with you on a level you don't even expect. But if anyone is dealing with those problems, just know they are never alone, and know too that I myself can understand how that feels from personal experience. It definitely took me a long time, but because of my friends, the support, and everything that I received, I knew I wasn't alone, and that personally helped me emotionally a lot. So I say definitely be with your friends in this situation. That's all I'm gonna say.
Next slide. What makes them different from other people? So Damon kind of already mentioned some things in here that are kind of obvious, to be honest. Oh wait, what? No, that's not the one. Did I skip one? Hope I didn't. Hold on. Okay, wait. What makes them different from other? Why they shouldn't be treated? Oh, sorry. No, that's the one. That's yeah, the one that I was reading is the one that's actually next. Okay. So, 10-second interval. All right, next slide. So what makes them different from other people? This one is gonna be an interesting one because as much as like I guess even though there's already the stereotypes, this one this one is true to an extent, but it's also like it can also be argued in both ways as well. So the obvious one is they choose to wear a lot of dark clothing most of the time. Now, Damien told me that like while plaid is, I guess you could say, plaid. I wouldn't consider plaid dark. Plaid is more on the lines of like I guess plaid is an aesthetic. So while there's a difference between wearing your black hoodie with your black ripped jeans and black shoes. Basically, there's a difference between dressing all black and then having at least some sense of, I guess, not style, but some sense of, I guess, sense of what you're wearing. While there's no there's not an aesthetic. It's just choosing what to wear what you want. Not to mention that I've seen isn't there like a clothing line called Black, where literally the whole thing is like spelled BL, I think VCK, and
Yes,
like
there is.
yeah. So I was gonna say like whatever, like if you pay like I don't know, $300 for a black hoodie, and it's still a black hoodie, but it's also like what's the difference between wearing that versus wearing a black Nike hoodie or like I guess with ripped jeans now, oh my god, don't get me started. Like I've seen like $1,500 or $1,000 jeans that have rips in them that look maybe even worse than what I guess these quiet kids would wear. Okay, this one's kind of like I guess again this with people I've spoken with. This is kind of a given, but they don't pay attention in most classes. Not necessarily most classes. It's more of the lines of what they find boring. They're not going to really listen to, which can even be said for, I guess, even students that are like, I guess, capable enough to get their work done. They're not going to care about the classes that they don't need, or that it doesn't matter if they get a bad mark in. So, like, I guess religion. Like, you get a bad mark in religion, who the hell cares? Versus if you get a bad mark in math or English. While there are students that take it a little too far with like, oh, you know what, I'll just friggin' get a 60 in all my classes for this grade, and then next year, like, it won't matter, or something along those lines, which is kind of like, it's stupid, but I get what they're saying. Like, to be honest, like, again, I didn't purposely try to get bad grades in grade 9. I just had a hard time adapting to going from elementary school to the other school, while other kids were studying all summer and going through all the work, like, just so they can get themselves prepared for what they had to do. So this one is kind of like, I guess, thinking about it in like, I guess you would say, a fictional setting wise, or like, I guess how like, for example, the like a high school show where more likely or not the quiet kid would either write in his death note or draw or basically do anything other than the work, like maybe even play like I don't know a shooter game on his phone. That's kind of like the ideas that people immediately think of when they're not paying attention in class. Because very rarely however, some people like associate the class clown with the quiet kid, or like with a kid that only tells jokes, but he doesn't actually have a personality outside of saying offensive stuff. Which again, they kind of overlap within these stereotypes. All right, so they don't talk unless they have to or they want to. This one is kind of again that goes along with those lines. Like there's the whole thing with like quiet kids like has this music blasting in his ears while he's not listening to the teacher or not listening to anybody that's trying to communicate with him. There's the whole head down on the desk, someone talks to him, he like nods, he makes actions with like body language, which again, I've never seen that happen, even including the, I guess, one of my friends who's been labeled, uh, like future school shooter. He's like not only the nicest guy you'll ever meet, but he also, first he does talk to you if you say anything to him, which is again we'll get to that point. Um, you'll never see them with anybody again. That's left to certain people. Obviously, there's ones with close friends, or even the ones that, yeah, I'm gonna go there. Ones that are in a group of friends, but they're just the outsiders, where they don't really contribute anything to the friend group except just sit around and, I guess, respond to them if they talk to them. Sits alone at lunch. Again, that's more, uh, from what I've know, like from what I've seen in the cafeteria, like there's enough, I guess you would say. I've never seen anybody that really is just out, away from everyone. There's a group of the outcasts, and the outcasts consist of maybe over 5 people that sit together and talk together. So like again, my school is different from obviously schools in the States where like the typical quiet kid eats next to the garbage can, or he eats next to the door, so then he leaves, which again, that's kind of the typical thing you would expect from how these random people that come up with these stereotypes see them for. They would rather communicate through text instead of in person. This one I added specifically for my case of episode 2, which obviously, like, it's not really, like, it's not too far-fetched, but it's also not correct in the same way. Like, because I was talking to anybody that have talked to me, I talked to them not as, like, I guess, fluently as I would now. And I guess anybody that I really wanted to talk to but couldn't talk to, then it would be through text. They mostly ignore people. Again, that's left to specific groups of specific people, not saying everyone. Damien, would you like to add anything?
Um, well, you've honestly said a lot of the things too that I was thinking, and here's the thing too. I agree with you that what everybody too assumes, but there are some kids too out there and people that they're the quiet kid, but they're not just also the nicest person too, but how should I say it?
They've been dealt a shitty hand, and they kind of have a hard time communicating with people that they don't know, because the people that they have known have only been mean to them.
Yes, correct. Correct. I know there are definitely some people out there that in my society are like that. You know, that's also too, as Josh said too in the first part, that's where I kind of came in as well too, is I talk to people like that all the time. I just want them to know too that they are not alone, and no matter what they're dealing with, someone cares, no matter what happens or what has happened in the past.
Well said.
And thank you. And that's all I have to say.
Alright, next slide. Alright, now, alright, so why they shouldn't be treated differently. This one is, I guess, this one's kind of my biased opinion, but it's also, it has enough facts from what I've talked about previously that should be accounted for in this. So they might not want to talk to you, but if you talk to them about something they like, they might respond and continue a conversation. Simple thing would be like my friend from school. If he's just drawing something and someone's asked, hey, that's a cool drawing. Like, what are you drawing, or what's inspiring you to draw this? Yeah, he'll talk. He'll go on. He'll explain everything to you, and yeah, a lot of now again, there's people that actually do struggle with communicating with people either from trauma or the way they've uh, or the people that they've dealt with in the past kind of like I guess shadow like again I always like to think about it back to if you're in a prison and like for example like my school I mean my school was basically like a prison in along the lines of and again elementary school not high school my in the lines of like I had to suffer through bullying and just being mistreated by the teachers to whenever I got to the high school I just kind of thought about think of it the same way. It's really the lines of like I don't know who's going to be mean to me and I don't know who's going to be nice to me and just expect the worst, which that's still something I do to this day. However, I've gotten better where you actually start to witness who's the people you can get along with and who's the people you don't like. Okay, so the next one, it might not look like it, but they want someone to talk to them about their personal issues. Again, different people, a lot of people, like for example, me. When I was too scared to talk about my personal issues with anybody professional, I literally went to a random stranger that just happened to be best friends with the girl I liked, and it didn't. And while it went well for the first half, the other half is just it. Anyways, I don't. The one thing I highly suggest is if you're gonna talk to someone you don't know, or like I guess if you were going through what I had to deal with, where you really want to talk to someone about your problems, but you don't know how they'll react. First of all, you got to study their character, or at least get someone that knows them good to, I guess, tell them about tell them what the person is going to be like if you tell them. Like, for example, like, this person is like, I don't know, this person definitely could be like, I would consider them someone that easily can be hated by a specific group of people, but I also like you also don't know like their I guess soft side until you get to that point. I don't recommend obviously speed running to that point where you finally tell them about like here's my issues, give me help or try to help me. I definitely either work your way up to that or know who you're talking to about who you're going to be talking to about your problems. That's my insight on that. They could be the nicest person you've ever met. Not really gonna. I'll let Damien explain more on that. They're not all narcissistic. Again, that's kind of something that I don't really know who is aside from people that I guess you would say are different from your stereotypical quiet people or quiet kids. Um, I don't know anybody I don't know anybody that's, I guess, stereotypical quiet kid that's narcissistic. For the most part, they're all, they'll either struggle with the idea of, I guess, I, I guess wanting to like, I guess they think that the bad people deserve bad, or no, so they think they deserve bad things to happen to bad people, but they also don't understand the consequences of that, and like people need to explain that to them. But that's not to say that they're narcissistic. They just think that what they've been taught and how they feel is that bad people deserve bad things to happen to them, which I don't fully agree with, but I can also understand how that could, I guess, throw people off into becoming friends with those types of people, because they're still talking about I guess, either causing pain or something to cause pain to them. Now, as for I guess lying or just only caring about themselves, I don't know anybody that's like that fits under the quiet kid category. or stereotypical quiet kid category, they're bound to have something in common with you. Again, Damien will touch on that. However, actually, to be honest, I'm gonna. Okay, so for someone that's, I'm gonna bring up Ariel again, even though like it's kind of dead in the water at this point. But when what really made me, I guess, want to talk to Ariel was that she mentioned the movie Heathers, and actually, yeah, she mentioned the movie Heathers. Not only that, and then there was also the supply teacher also mentioned, and he talked about the history of the world part one, which again I think both those movies I saw like a few weeks prior to like to those classes, and I'm like, oh my god, this is my time to finally like say something that I can like agree on. Never really got to that point though. That's the thing. Um, where I never really got to say what I wanted to say. But yeah, like I completely, if someone has something in common with, if you have like, let's say like I don't know, like for example, like I guess an easy one for me is like I like Dashboard Confessional. If someone that I guess won't really identify as themselves as emo, but they like I guess that sad soft sound, be like, oh my god, like you like Dashboard Confessional too, like we gotta talk about our music taste. We gotta talk about like Vindicated. We gotta talk about like how good that song sounded on the where we've heard that song. I heard it on the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. Like, yeah, like completely. This is something that like I definitely. And the thing was like, I really, as much as I like, I don't really, I guess I don't advocate for like, going out of your way to, I guess, and this is like dedicated to anybody that I kind of like, that was in my boat, where the one thing that they have to keep in mind is that like, if this is like a crush thing, you haven't seen the movie 500 Days of Summer, basically, just because someone likes the same music as you doesn't mean like you're gonna end up, I guess, becoming a couple. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. They need someone to look after them. That's something that I kind of think back to with. There are obviously people that will struggle with either addiction or just mental issues in general, where they feel like they're gonna do something bad, and with having someone to help them understand that like, hey, you know what, this is bad, don't think about this, here's some other things that you can think about. Again, like, as much as I really don't like comparing quiet kids and school shooters, when it comes down to it, like, society associates them as the same people. So I gotta say this now, like, you do know that you can stop someone from shooting up a school by talking to them and getting to know what their exact, like, like explain to what, hey, this is wrong, and that basically there's the whole thing about like, oh, become friends with the quiet kid so he doesn't shoot you on the day he shoots up the school. It's not like, not, don't think about it that way. Think about like, hey, this person is struggling, I can help them. Not only that, if they're that, I guess, out there, I could stop them from, I could stop I could save people I like, or people I love. I could stop a whole massacre from happening just because I went out of my way to talk to someone that no one talks to. And that's honesty. That's something I actually agree with, and I'm curious to what you have to say about all this, Damien.
Honestly, too, I would agree with you, Josh. So might I just add one thing as well, too?
Yeah.
Um, when I was younger, I was actually quite a quiet kid, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I a bit at quarter of elementary school, like my second or third year through, probably quite a good portion of fifth grade. I really struggled making friends. I struggled with with a lot of things. I didn't really talk to anyone really. I struggled, but I mean, I had two people that went by my side those years, invited me to their table, and honestly kind of brought me out of that phase and really helped me through those years. And one of them, I'm gonna call her M.
Okay.
She's a quiet kid. She's kind of like one of those people who's friends with a lot of people, a quiet, but
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, she's a lot like that. I met her through another elementary school friend of mine that I didn't see for the longest time at that point.
Okay.
And her and I, we liked a lot of the same type of music, and we just really clicked.
Right.
Like me and Em really clicked, and we've known each other since now fifth grade. And yeah, and she's became one of my best friends. And another one, I'm gonna name him H. At that time, I was being bullied for the way I talked. I
Mhm.
talked differently. I was definitely I was a very closed, very different person from who I am now, and he kind of came in there too when he watched me just have one of the biggest mental breakdowns I think I've ever had in public because of one person. And he was like, hey dude, come to my table. And I sat with them for the next 4 years, and they're great, still a great friend of mine and stuff like that too. Like I honestly owe them a lot because they really kind of helped me kind of leave that shell too. And just over the years too, from just personal experience, I've honestly, all I ever really want to do is just really actually help people. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Especially like with situations like that, like I know how that feels. I get that it can definitely be difficult to communicate. Uh, it really can be, and it's not easy all the time, especially when you're in a situation too and you want to tell that person something, but you can't because you're just so scared of
Mhm.
what they'll think of you. But
Exactly.
know too, that sometimes too, if you really know the person, give it a try. But if you don't really know the person too, sometimes I say don't with certain things. Am I right, Josh?
Oh yeah, like definitely don't tell someone that I guess you would say don't tell someone that like I guess someone that they think that they're like okay, okay, I don't want to sound like rude. Like let's say like just someone that kind of comes off as like they think they're better than everyone else. Don't tell them your problems because more
Y-
likely they won't be able to handle it compared to someone that I guess like I
I
guess someone that doesn't really talk as much as you do. So,
Yeah, another thing too I would say is might surprise you, but more people who don't really like always constantly flat out say that all the time, and you know what I mean,
mhm,
Josh? Kind of like what you said. Pe People who aren't like that are actually, from my personal experience, are the people you should really be talking to about
exactly.
personal problems. And seriously, like to definitely make friends with the quiet kid, because sometimes, who knows, they could easily seriously become your best friend and stuff like that. Because as I say too, I'm friends with a lot of quiet kids and stuff like that, and M is like literally one of my best friends. I'm 17 years old, and I've known her since I was like what, 12, maybe a little less, like maybe 11. So I've known her for a good number of years, and yeah, I honestly owe them a lot of and stuff like that. And honestly, too, pe people too can, and who knows too, and that you could easily like, God, I'm sorry, but you get what I'm getting at, Josh.
Yeah.
Like, I hope everyone here gets what I'm getting at. Apologize, bit of a stutter here after I talk for so long. But yeah, but just seriously, like, don't just go in there when you're making friends with a quiet kid and assume like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help this person not shoot up a school. Listen, not all people are like that, and there are just people out there that all they want is just a friend or someone, someone to talk to them, someone that even remotely just for a little bit be there for them. You know what I mean? And who knows, when you meet them too, they could honestly start to become a huge part of your life, and they might help you emotionally as well, and you might be able to help them. And honestly too, you two might be able to be there for each other for a long time and help each other out. And from what I've learned too, is I think it's a great thing too when people do that, because the type of friendships that are built and stuff like that, and just the emotional connections, and you can really help each other out big time. And that's all gotta say about that. And
One
just
thing
know
I
that they're never
oh,
alone.
sorry. One thing I wanted to add as well. I know this is kind of like a not necessarily a different conversation, but one thing that I guess, like, if I had to say, like, okay, so to be honest, like, I'm not gonna say who specifically, but let's just say that someone that I was close to said kind of warned me about who I would say what I said to, because or no, if I even said like something else different, because just like along the lines of like, I would say that, like, not to say like, every popular girl is like this, but to talk to a popular girl, I guess about anything other than your problems, like, I guess, like, just talking about, like, normally, immediately they're gonna consider you like a simp, or a friggin', like, you're gonna ask for nudes or something, and then there's gonna be like they're gonna say that you're harassing her and get you in trouble and stuff like that.
Hmm.
There's a fine line between, again, like, it's not like I'm expecting a popular girl to listen to this, but, like, there's definitely a fine line between what a person wants and what a person needs. If, like, honestly, the guy shouldn't be offended, but if someone does message you saying, I guess, not, they're not hitting on you, but they're trying to, like, I guess, greet you, be kind, be nice, talk about something that's just generic, immediately ask them what their intentions are before they continue. Then you can, um, then you can continue on with what happens next. But yeah, I would do
Yes.
that. I would definitely ask what their intentions are, because you don't know how many my female friends have been harassed by guys where they start off nice and then eventually they start talking about stuff that shouldn't even be. I'm not gonna talk about, but, like, definitely something along the lines of they want pictures, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
If you know guys like that, honestly, cut them out of your lives.
That too. Yeah,
Seriously.
100%. They'll never
Because they
change.
are, no, they're toxic, completely toxic. Seriously. Believe me, it's bad. You do not want people like that in your lives. If you really want to cut down on certain things, I'd say keep the people that have been there for you, and on and like been there for you. You know what I mean, Josh?
Yeah.
Like been there for you and have actually care about you. Don't just be friends with people who just because they're popular too. That's another thing too. Is because and who try to make you do things that you're uncomfortable with and don't respect that. Because sadly too, that happens too, where people try to become friends with a popular kid, and then the popular kid
Ruins them.
occasionally,
Kind of ruins
yeah,
their, not, they kind of ruin their reputation. Honestly, I'm surprised that that didn't happen with me, to be honest. Not to say that, like,
um,
I think they were kind of, I guess, afraid of who I was, because they know that I I know a lot of people that they know, or and yeah, I think that's what it was really. But not to say that I
Yeah,
didn't do anything wrong in the first place. Like you can't. There's nothing to be. There's nothing that they can put on me.
yeah, I've had people make attempts before, but because of my friends and stuff like that, I mostly get left alone and treat everyone with respect too. I say treat everyone how they want to be treated. If they treat you respect, treat them with respect. If they treat you like crap, cut them out, ignore them. You know, you don't have to deal with that crap. Am I right, Josh?
Yeah. Another
That's
thing I.
another thing
Oh, sorry.
to
No, you go
say.
ahead. Yeah.
That's okay. That's another thing to say.
Yeah. Sorry. Another
Sorry.
thing I wanted to. This is not something I guess. This is not something I'd say for everyone to do, but if you do know that, like in this case, like if you know that someone is actually like I guess mentally ill and they're vulnerable to the point where they will seek help. If you like, let's say if they want like if they're like I guess uh, hypersexual and you think that they'll actually accept help that you'll get for them to like I guess become better than what they are now. Yeah, no, definitely go for that. If there are obviously people that there's different sides of groups where people would think that if this is dangerous, boys will always be boys, and then there's the case where like no, this person's mentally ill, and if they'll accept my help, I'll get them the help they need. That's not really a it's not really much of a high school thing though. I'm thinking more of the lines of outside of high school, but yeah, no, I strongly recommend if someone's willing to willing to get help, definitely help them. Even if it's something I guess so not necessarily common, but I guess something and I'll say so something so taboo like I guess that. All right, next slide. All right, this one's going to be kind of a quick one. Along the lines of with memes and media, this is, again, how quiet kids are portrayed in the media. So, again, speaking of Heathers, we got Jason Dean. While he's not necessarily, he's not necessarily, like, considered a school shooter, he definitely is, like, I always never really understood the, I guess, like it's you can tell like someone is so like I guess written for a movie when they act like this, but like the whole bombing the school thing, like I've seen TikToks where like yeah they mention when the quiet kid wants to blow up the school or set the school on fire. um the way how this guy is portrayed, it's like I can see why, if anything, this movie should be problematic. Um, not compared to Elephant though. We'll get to Elephant, but yeah, this guy is like your um, run, hide, fight. Not overly written character, but the whole premise is that he's a random guy, trench coat, and he like he has a friggin' revolver, and he talks to this one girl that's part of this group of friends, ends up like basically dating her, and then then she finds out that like his dad's a freaking crazy maniac that literally destroyed a building to kill his wife, and his character, and he's gonna like blow up the school even though he's already killed like the two bullies or the two jocks and killed the friend of his ex's, and then to the point where the ex ends up killing him and the school doesn't blow up, but in the original plan for the movie the school blows up and they have prom in heaven. Yeah, it's just saying it now, like I understood why I really liked this movie, but now I don't, for many reasons. But that yeah, that's like I guess my main problem with the movie. Now we're talking now Elephant. Your Elephant is a movie that shows less but explains more than Heathers. Um, don't really want to get into what exactly this movie really needs to be watched on its own to get a full explanation, but essentially the movie is set around different characters and the shooter I guess background. There's like one scene that explains like what would cause him to I guess do that. I think there's two shooters actually. Yeah, there's two shooters. It's a very stylistic, slow movie, which is actually I guess kind of a spin-off of the original, which was one where I think it was an Italian movie where like just the main premise of the movie is everyone dies. There's like barely any music, and that's like the movie. But no, this one is like basically a school shooting. The main characters die. It's played the way it's filmed is very realistic. There's like they show like the interaction. It's almost like it's filming a real school shooting. Like they show the background characters. They're walking. They're doing daily tasks, and then they show different points of views for when the characters cross paths with the other characters or when the shooter comes in. Yeah, I have to be honest. I think that this movie is less problematic than Heathers in my opinion, but I'm just gonna say that now. These ones are kind of you got Peter with the shotgun trench coat school shooting joke, which is like it doesn't surprise me that Family Guy would do something like this, but it's also something that like hey, like the edgy kids would like appreciate that I guess. Um, I have mixed feelings on Family Guy, but that'll be for another video. Um, if you've noticed down below, that is a screenshot from the was it the I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a YouTube channel. It was a school's YouTube channel, something to do with like school shooter awareness, basically. This is dumb on many levels because first of all, the guy is okay. So like, first of all, no one, and I mean no one, would be watching like a friggin' video of a guy or like gun testing in the library. Not only that, uh, the way like the way that the guy is actually like I guess the way they portray him, he gets bullied. He's not popular. Things are happening, and look, like they even show a guy looking at the guy watching the video of the guy of the person testing the gun. All he has to do is like literally like talk to the guy, and he chooses not to. There's the girls there that clearly walk past while they probably saw him watching the stupid video. They don't say anything to him, and yeah, the fact that my mom thought it was a good video just really kind of even aggravated me more. Again, it's not. I don't remember what the name of the school or the whole program was for this. They had a different video series. That one's the most iconic or most memorable in the worst way possible. And even Leafy is here reviewed that and gave his thoughts on it. Was like, yeah, he's thinking that the way they filmed it and the stuff they included in it was stupid, and I agreed with him. We got this stupid meme here when you're shooting up the school and you run out of ammo and the emo kid hands you another round. Again, I don't really agree with the memes on quiet kids, specifically between quiet kids and school shooters. Not to mention that, like, who actually finds this funny? Like, oh, like, I guess, even if you're edgy, like, this is just something stupid. For the reasons that, like, there's random people that wear black, or wear dark clothing, sit alone in the library, sit alone at lunch, maybe, say a few words in class, and a lot of people don't know what's going on in their house and at their homes, but they just immediately assume that they're going to shoot up the school. And actually, I really wish I could include this, but it's a PowerPoint. There's a video of the interview of they're interviewing the students of the I don't remember, the Valentine's Day massacre shooting, and they say like, oh yeah, like we always joked and said that this kid was going to shoot up the school. Like the fact that you said that on television already shows that how much you clearly don't care about not only the well-being's lost, but the shooter or the kid's well-being, because they didn't reach out, they didn't talk to the guy. Even if the guy like refused help or something, that's when you like start to like hey, let's talk to the counselor to actually see if we can get this kid help. But no. And again, that just really pissed me off. I this was just around the time I finished Skins UK. I included Effie Stoneham for obvious reasons. I feel like this quote really highlights the way people view Quiet Kids. That's the beauty of it all. No one knows, or no one has a fucking clue what I'm hiding. Again, instant lingo for gonna do something terrible. But hey, I'm problematic, so no one's gonna help me anyways. Even though I appreciate Skins UK for a lot of reasons. Even though like the way they portray, I'm not mocking at the way the creators portrayed her, or even the writing of her. I'm mocking that people are that, I guess, people, and there's videos out there already, but glorifying mental illness, where the those girls that dye their hair or that try to impersonate Effie, and they think like that Effie's their role model, and I have anxiety, but I'm not gonna get help because hey, I can handle myself on my own. Like, that's stupid bullshit stereotype stuff. That's what ruined Effie. That it's not the way they portrayed her in the show. It's the way people interpret the way she was put out as a character. All right, Damien.
Yes.
Yep. Anything you want to add?
I I agree with you. I agree with you too, honestly, like seriously. Like if you like people shouldn't ignore obvious signs, and people who go around saying that shit, like people's lives were lost.
Exactly.
Those were all people who were I probably innocent, and yeah, innocent. Oh, and also those were people who freaking, like, Jesus, like the people who were to say that stuff, I wouldn't really consider them human beings personally, because it's like a lack of life, lack of, you know what I mean, Josh?
Remorse. Or well,
The
actually no,
lack of remorse.
no, not really remorse. Actually, the way they came off on the interview, yeah, they definitely showed lack of remorse.
Yes, for sure. Give me one.
All right, I'll start the next slide. We're getting close to the end here, so I'm gonna talk about again more memes along the
Actually,
line.
wait.
Yep,
I got one more thing too to say.
yep.
And also too, if you see a person getting bullied for who they are, just because you're scared of what might happen, help him or her.
I agree.
Don't be afraid. You stick by their side no matter what happens, and you don't know A, how much that'll mean to them, and B, who knows, no matter what will happen to you, that means they might have your back as well. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I want to add that in there as well. And that's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
I said my piece.
All right. So on to the we're getting really close now. So within this slide, I found these stupid memes. Obviously the first one is pretty relatable to me specifically. That the schools literally don't care that, like, the kid that doesn't the athlete that doesn't do any, or sorry, the kid that's not an athlete, that doesn't want to participate in anything, lashes out at the athlete um that, like, has a good reputation within the school, and if he, like, says something hurtful or bullies the quiet kid, the quiet kid gets friggin' the quiet kid is automatically the person that's at fault. Now, yeah, that is something that really just pisses me off. And while, like, not all of these are, like, I guess, part of the problem, that one is definitely one that's relatable. And yeah, I really think schools should actually, teachers should definitely see this, and principals should definitely see that meme because it is 100% true. This one, again, this one I just added. I kind of like, it's not necessarily, like, I guess, part of the problem, but it's when the quiet kid, if when the quiet kid and the popular girl get together, and turns out they have a lot in common. Uh, from what I don't know much about anime, but I do know that people that I've talked to that fall into the quiet kid category, um, they do like a lot of anime, or even like, yeah, or even like 80s movies, um, which, it all depends on, like, who you talk to in the end. But, like, yeah, there's a popular girl that could be, like, obsessed with Clueless, or yeah, like, and, like, they know, like, quotes, and they know, like, the character's dress, and, like, they know more about, like, the era of, like, when that movie came out and stuff like that. Yeah, it's 100% true. But honestly, that one I kind of left here because, like, I feel like that's something that more people should be posting, more people should be, like, finding, or more people should be actually seeing, rather than something like, oh, the quiet kid gets in trouble for hitting the bully when the bully's been bullying the kid for years. Yeah, that's okay. So we're getting close to almost down the slide. This one, 100% I agree with, to an extent, where it's the class clowns at school. He's like, all, I guess, uh, all of the attention. When he gets home, depressed. Quiet kid at school, depressed. When he gets home, he's like the life of the party. Again, that's another meme that I feel like a lot of people should either should definitely start sharing, and a lot of people should really think about, compared to the stupid TikTok, stupid Instagram, school shooting memes, and blowing up the school memes, or being friends with the quiet kids so they survive on the day he shoots up the school. Like, those stupid memes. This meme should be both, the both the upper right corner and the down left corner should be shared. Now the last one. This one I 100% uh, not only agree with, but also, like, this is, come on, guys. Like, I blame, like, I said it in the lyrics, and I said it in the music slides, but when you ask the quiet kid to put on music and you listen to it, the quiet kid, the person, you want to die, the quiet kid says kinda. There's an extent to, um, there's different meanings for lyrics, whether it be, I guess you could say, post-punk genre, or emo, emo, to that emo screamo era. A lot of the times, these people are not, well, if they blatantly say, like, I want to die, that's one thing, but there's the sad sounding instrumentals, and talking about, like, I guess thinking about uh, surviving depression, that doesn't necessarily mean they want to die. They're listening to it to cope with the trauma, the pain, the depression, the mental illness that they've been through. And a lot of people should, if anything, you're going to criticize music, you're going to say music's garbage, you're going to say music is for depressed people, for school shooters. You got to at least listen to the lyrics in order to prove your point. Because even then, lyrics can be interpreted in different ways, the same way books and movies and meanings can be interpreted in different ways. Damien, would you like to add on to that?
Hey, Josh. Okay, Mom.
Would you like to add on to that?
Um, no, but there is one thing too that I would like to bring up as well.
All right.
That my mom kindly pointed out to me. She was a quiet kid when she was younger.
Okay.
Uh, she she was bullied, called a lot of names by multiple different females because that's what they thought of her, first
Yeah.
impressions, but she was just quiet, she was shy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a lot of people can be shy and stuff like that. Like I know, sure as hell I can be shy. And like don't just another thing too is people shouldn't just assume by one impression their whole
Exactly.
personality. That's another thing too. And for girls too, talk to your friends as well. Talk to those close to you. Nobody's alone. Somebody has your back. And never judge a book by its cover too, because no matter what your first impression may be, first impressions are normally wrong, or at least some semi off, or there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, to say the least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I say get to know them before you really judge the person for who they are. Don't just base everything you say off one impression. And that's all I'm gonna say.
All right. We have. All right. So yeah, this slide I made specifically for. Honestly, this is kind of like really there's like the two main creators have stuff that's very powerful, and definitely like I would encourage you to watch certain videos if you are um, in a dark state or depressed. The other two are kind of like I guess they're more on the like I guess happy side of things. But yeah, so the first off we have the one and only Mama Max, and for those who I guess who are his new viewers, if you don't already know about Life Sucks, basically that was his uh, better, in my opinion, better version of Odd Ones Out's style videos, where he would talk about like depression, uh, anxiety, loneliness, breakups, or like yeah, heartbreak, and these were powerful videos. And I'm not just saying that, like I'm saying like these were on the lines of self-help tapes. Like these were incredibly well done. And for those that don't have or that don't know how to access them, there's like a few, not all of them. There's a few of them re-uploaded on Mama Max's re-upload. It's not his channel; it's another channel that re-uploaded the videos. I want to just touch on this. While it's not really my business, I am very against the whole idea of the corpse getting brought into hot water for something he said when he was 19. For those that don't know, it was one of Mama Max's videos. I never watched it. I didn't get a chance to see it. It was something to do with sleep, and if it was Life Sucks Sleeps, then I'm assuming it had something to do with sleep deprivation. which is important, but you guys rather have someone, no, you would rather save the career of, or no, sorry, you would rather be able to sleep at night just because a creator uh, apologized for saying something he said when he was 19, instead of instead of this creator putting out these videos to help generations to come of teens that struggle with mental health, with these problems. But no, you never took your chance to go watch the videos. You never bonded on, or never really felt. You never really fell for, like, I guess the same the appeal for someone that, you know, really put his neck out there to help others. And yeah, like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm just it just boggles my mind on how you would rather save a career of a rapper or of an artist. Not to say that I don't like Corpse's fan base if they would rather trash, or not, sorry, not trash. They would rather basically almost cancel old videos that helped people's, like, literally, you could go on comment sections of his archived re-uploaded videos. People have said in the comments that, wow, you know, these videos saved my life. This series saved my life. This series was there for me when I was in a dark time. And this guy, from what I believe, this guy suffers from I think a personality disorder, if I remember correctly, doing some research, and it would make sense why he would go through a phase where he would private his old videos just for the sake of some script that he had someone say something, I guess, inappropriate back then, where, you know, the group of the cancer culture would mention that, or would, like, you know, touch on this. First off, the fact that, I'm sorry, but like, not like, again, like, the whole thing with like not only Corpse, but like like, not even Corpse's fan, but the fact that Corpse would like, I'm assuming that video had to do, it was a Life Sucks video. I can only name maybe a few Life Sucks videos that doesn't really, you know, like, I guess, relate or help everyone, but that, like, if it has something to do with sleep, that I'm assuming that ties in with the mental health phenomenon and the whole self-help videos. Like, it's something that needs to be put out in this world. I'm sorry, but if someone said something you didn't like, and again, like, you clearly didn't look at this guy's channel if you went after him for saying one word, and even it was a script. Are you gonna go cancel some celebrity for saying that word in a movie they did when they were younger? No. So why are you doing the same thing for someone that said someone in a YouTube video that he was offered a script for to say? Like, he didn't say it just willy-nilly. He said it from the script. Sorry, but that, like, really pissed me off. I'm gonna be honest with you, like, it's just, it blows my mind on how stupid people are. And to quote, I don't remember who it was, but the world is going to end because people are trying to make things better for the wrong reasons. And okay, so now enough of that. The creepy reading. I remember discovering the creepy reading from Tats Top's videos, which again, it was a different era of videos where, like, literally you do, like, I don't remember, it was like 3 hours long of, like, the top 120, like, bloodiest, goriest games, and it was fascinating on how long videos of that nature was just very interesting for me to watch. But I really appreciate the guy's voice and the way, like, the way he presented whenever it was his turn to speak on whatever topic. So then I checked out his channel, and, like, I was on the fence about, the thing was, like, I was young at the time, and I was still, like, kind of scared of certain creepypastas, so I would watch, like, you know, like, whatever, 80 creepypasta videos, and then I'd immediately, when it'd be something that I didn't like, I would just not watch any footage of it and just listen to it. But that's not really the reason why he's on here. If you, I'm probably gonna have it linked in the description. I have to rebuild it, but my mental health playlist, I have a specific video of his, and that's the, if anybody knows the game Night in the Woods, he did a video not only talking about, not really a review for the game, but he also shared his story and shared how he resonated with the characters within this game. Again, there's not a whole lot I want to spoil, but also to mention that like this guy is not your, actually, and I should have said this about Max too. These are not your like, I don't know, your fun-loving characters like Odd Ones Out or I don't who else like Odd Ones Out or um, some generic gaming channel. These are people that like are like me, that like they felt like they didn't belong, but they also like came to realization that, hey, you know what, I figured what I need to do to improve myself, and I should share this with others on how to do the same thing. Again, like I'm mostly speaking for Mama Max on this one, but like uh, it was a journey. Watching the videos before he privated all of them, watching the videos that he still had up, it was a journey, like going from like how, wow, this was his first video, this was him when he was younger, and then he even shares about like the whole outro thing. Like, yeah, he didn't do long outros, but he would either put stuff on text or he would just share about like what's going on in his life, and to update the channel, let people know how the channel was doing, or how he was doing outside the channel. And yeah, he shared experiences of bullying and like how people backstabbed him and how he tries to not let that get to him, which is the perfect advice people need to hear. Now, as for the creepy reading, he is on the he is on the spectrum. He has autism, and he, within that video that I mentioned, he talked about like people almost treated him like he was ill, to the point where like they didn't know if he was dangerous to hang out around him. And again, like, it's a video that I recommend everybody should watch, that struggles with depression, and it's honestly sad. It's a very sad video. You have to be in the right mood, because he does like literally he's sad at points. You hear him cry, but it's real because it's the perfect video because it's real and it's very human. That a lot of people need to realize that you can't just live in the world of family friendly content that plays it safe. You need these real videos to actually help you, while the other ones are just for entertainment. These aren't for entertainment, these are to help you. Now, okay, so I'm just gonna touch on these two. Mumkey Jones, he was a well-known YouTuber for getting canceled by YouTube for the content he made. He would always talk about school shooters, edginess, edgy things. He would do edgy things on his channel. He would do a film festival, which I thought was a very great way on how to connect with your fans. And yeah, he's more of along the lines of like your likable, edgy kid, while the other ones, like, they take themselves, like, they're definitely more serious. Emi Sakai, she's someone that I found her like with the whole thing, like, I guess when I thought it was going like whatever emo phase, or if you call it a phase, that whole era, or that whole time in my life, I'd watch her stuff, and she would do like like types of emos and stuff like that. Like, she would base stuff off of like from what she knows, and not from like not how like everybody else presents themselves as like emo or whatever. Because when you think of emo, you would think of like kid with a black hoodie, ripped jeans, black shirt, just almost everything black really. Maybe have their hair dyed a little bit. But there's actually like, there's the art school emo, which, I kind of think, I always think back to like, my friend is kind of that, even though he's not really emo, but like, he's definitely the art school type character. There's the one that like, the one that dresses kind of normally, but they know like everything. That's kind of me, honestly. um, yeah, that's all I have to say. Damien, is there any YouTubers or yeah, content creators that kind of touch on those subjects that you feel like could help people?
Honestly, not not really. Like most of the YouTubers that you brought up are ones that basically ones that I watched because you recommended them to me, and those are the only ones I really know.
Right.
So yeah, but so thank you. Those a lot of those are great videos. So I did actually watch some of the ones too that you said were privated
Mm-hmm.
before they were privated too. By the
Yeah.
way, I forgot to tell you about that.
Exactly. They're almost like self-help tapes, and people need those videos in their lives. They need to watch them.
Oh yeah.
They need to share them with their children or even their teenage or their teenager son or daughter. That's how important they are. Like, I'm sorry, but like Corpse just he doesn't hit people on the same level as people that watch Mama Mac's Life Sucks videos do.
Hmm. Don't get me wrong, he's a good YouTuber, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's not exactly yeah. But
he's
yeah,
the
he's
he
still good.
he's the show while Mama Max is like, I guess, your best friend. Well, that's another thing too.
Yeah.
I have to. I also forgot to mention, Mama Max and some other YouTuber had a podcast. It was like I forget what it was called. It was like I think like the best friends like safe space or something like that. And it's great. It's almost like they're basically kind of like longer videos of the edited ones that I would recommend that I mentioned, where it's just a podcast of them basically being themselves talking, and they would even like let their viewers write questions, and they would answer the questions in the next podcast. And I'm gonna definitely put those in the mental health playlist. But yeah, I 100% think that the world is better with the Life Sucks series public.
I agree.
All right, now we're at the conclusion. So I don't know where I found this, but I'm so glad someone put this on the internet. So it's the meme with Lisa Simpson with like the text behind the whiteboard.
Yeah.
All right, so I got this one. If there is a quote unquote quiet kid in your class, she/he isn't quiet because she/he is a psycho. It's because her/his classmates are dickheads. I agree
Huh.
with this 100%.
Yeah.
I think that this was the perfect conclusion. Like, this summons up everything. Is there anything you want to add?
Honestly, I think that's a great way to end it. And another, one thing that I forgot to mention
Yep.
while talking about when I was quiet too is I am on the autism spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have what you call ADHD, which is
Yeah.
hyperactive. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
hyperactive
I'm
awareness
familiar with it. Yeah.
disorder. For people who aren't familiar with it too, Josh, I
Right.
was given the definition. Uh, which means too, like, I'm much better than I was when I was younger. When I was younger too, I was very spacey. Like, say, a teacher was teaching a subject, I was, I was somewhere else, to say the least. And it also too, occasionally too, before I really knew what I was diagnosed with, it was difficult for me to make friends because I didn't know how to connect with them. And, I learned, and yeah, I've told you the rest, and I just want to say too that no matter what, like, it doesn't matter too, like, I knew that when I was younger too, there were some kids that were actually afraid to make friends with me because they thought something was,
Exactly.
I had
Reminded
some
me
sort of
of,
disorder.
yeah, that reminds me a lot of the creepy reading.
Hmm. But yeah, all I have to say is, even if they do have a disorder or something, A, it's not their fault, and B, doesn't mean that they're downright crazy or anything like that. Talk to them. Yes, it might take me, who knows, it might take a little bit for them to really get started, but once they really get to know you, for some people, they'll start to talk back. You know what I mean? They'll start to talk back and easily become great friends with you. I just want to say that too, bec- and stuff, because I think that it's also very important to keep in mind that some people have those things, and they might be really shy to talk at first, but if they but if you really like talk to them, they'll start to open up. You know, that's all I'm gonna have to say.
I agree with you 100%.
Thank you. And that is all I have to say. And also would like to say too, thank you all for listening, and thank you, Josh, for having me on here and stuff. It was actually really nice to talk to you about this and to tell my story and your story and people's stories on here. I think it's something very important that people have to know is life and stuff like that.
I agree.
Alrighty, and that's all I have to say. I say good night, everyone, and and I wish you all the best. Okay, and
I
I'm out.
right. I originally had plans for a longer outro, but because this will be over 2 hours roughly, maybe if not close to 2 hours, it would make more sense to make that longer outro in the uh, reality versus the channel video. So, yeah, so while there won't be an outro, all I have to say is that please take all of this into consideration uh, when you meet a quiet kid. If you are a quiet kid, please take that whatever into consideration about talking to the person you want to talk to. And honestly, I don't know who exactly will be watching this specifically, but honestly, I hope I did a good job. This is something I really believe in. Hopefully, you can agree with the same thing. And uh, yeah, like again, I'm not doing this just for me. I'm doing this to help out everyone else. All right, peace.